Endometriosis affects about 1 million women in the UK, so it's very common, and it's thought that up to 1 in 6 women can suffer from it. It does come in different stages, so it can go from a mild stage, stage 1, right through to stage 4, which is the severe stage, and I was diagnosed with stage 4 11 years ago. So in its simplest form, endometriosis, or endo we say for short, is tissue that is growing outside of your womb. Because it's not supposed to be growing outside of your womb, it causes a lot of complications, it causes a lot of pain, and it can cause a lot of distress.
I get an immense amount of pelvic pain on my first 2 days of my period. So I have to take lots of rest breaks. I have to stay in bed for pretty much of the day. I have to work from home. I've missed so many engagements. I remember missing my nephew's funeral. I've missed dinners, theatre trips. I wouldn't even count the amount of money I've lost over things that I've booked and not been able to attend. So it can be incredibly chronic pelvic pain, it could be fatigue, it could be problems having sex, it could be problems with fertility, a whole range of other issues, back pain and so on. And so those are some of the issues and some of the symptoms to look out for if you suspect that you may have endometriosis. I think the waiting list is a big issue at the moment because there are about 600,000 women waiting for gynae operations at the moment, and that's the biggest specialism for women waiting at the moment. And that has obviously increased since the pandemic as well. And so women are waiting even longer now to be seen, to be diagnosed and to be treated. There are 4 things that the charity would like an incoming government to do. So the first is to work to reduce that diagnostic time from just under 9 years to a year by 2030. The second is to put more resources into understanding that this is a chronic pain disease and the debilitating impact that will have on women. And that includes resourcing for the NHS, more gynae specialists, more specialists in endometriosis as well. Also, we would like that commitment for mandatory menstrual wellbeing in schools to be actually put out and actually put through because that's not fully operational yet. And the final thing is to have more research into endometriosis, more research into what some of the treatments could be, and there's currently no cure either. So more research into those options so that we can have hope for the future. Workplaces can sign up to an endometriosis employers friendly scheme that the charity have as well, and that will ensure that they have commitments to doing things in the workplace to raise awareness, but making sure they've got policies, practices and procedures in place to support women with endometriosis, so they're not stigmatised and that they can be themselves and feel free to talk about their condition and how it impacts them without any stigma.
Well, joining us now here on the sofa, we have Sanchia Alasia from the charity Endometriosis UK and Vicky Hodges, who's the founder of Pausefully, an online resource for people seeking support from endometriosis. Morning to both of you.
Morning. Sanchia, you're from Endometriosis UK, but for you this is also personal, isn't it?
Yes, it is, John, yeah. I was diagnosed with endometriosis in December 2010, but since the age of 13, since I started my periods, I had pain, I had to take time off school, college and work. So it's been, something that I've had to live with for a long time.
And what strikes me is that diagnosis seems to come so late for so many women, and yet that isn't the beginning of it being solved. It can be the beginning of a whole new battle.
Yeah, that's right, John. I mean, one of the things that the charity is calling for is for those diagnostic times to be brought down. At the moment, it takes an average of 9 years for women to be diagnosed.
Why does it take so long?
We think there needs to be more training for the NHS so that when women are going to their GPs and presenting with the symptoms, they are referred much quicker. Sometimes women are gaslighted, sometimes they're told just to get on with it, and sometimes they're ignored, and so they have to then go on and live with this for a lot longer than they should be. When the charity was talking about this back in June, we were saying there were 600,000 women waiting. Now we've got 750,000 women waiting, which could fill Wembley Stadium 8 times over. 1.5 times the population of Manchester. So it's a lot of women who are having to live with this chronic pain condition, and it affects their work, it affects their education, it affects their lives. And so we do want this to be taken seriously, an investment to be made to have better outcomes.